Welcome back to another video. I am going to start this video outside because it is a glorious day and I thought it'd be nice to just sit down and chat for a little bit. Today's video is going to be about how I have transitioned my diet from being primarily plant-based for the last 8-ish years and reintroducing animal products back into my diet. I'm going to share kind of the how, the why, and also, if you've been following for a while, you know that I have also been dairy-free and gluten-free for a really long time, and I have since also transitioned those foods back into my diet, and I want to talk about that transition as well. So I think let's first talk about the why. For me, gluten and dairy, I'm thinking of separately from the animal protein conversation. I decided to reincorporate gluten first, and the reason for that was I had just slowly tested it here and there with sourdough and some ancient grains that are a little bit lower in gluten, and I noticed that my system was not really having any sort of impact from it. So I decided to just kind of slowly test it out and see how I responded, and to my surprise and honestly delight, my system was totally fine. So after living gluten-free for over a decade, I just feel like my system was able to heal itself. I think that for me it was less of a sensitivity and more of a gut issue. So I feel like I was able to heal my gut, and that really transformed how my body has been able to process things. And the same kind of goes for dairy. I started with lactose-free options or low lactose options, so sheep, goat, low lactose cheeses and things like that. And again, it was totally fine. So I just kind of slowly added those things back into my diet, and I'm at a point now with gluten and dairy that I can pretty much eat anything and not feel bad, which is amazing. And I just feel like it has really honestly opened my world up a lot for just being able to enjoy different social situations and not have to worry about not being able to eat whatever I want wherever we're going. And it's just made the last year for me honestly a lot more mentally enjoyable, and I just feel like I'm in a much better place emotionally with food as well. So I guess my point with the gluten and dairy is if you are someone who has an allergy, obviously this does not apply to you, but if you have been eating gluten and dairy or not eating gluten and dairy for a while and you're curious about how your body responds and you are thinking about reintroducing, I want to just give you one piece of advice that I think will really help your system. So your body gets really used to not digesting things, especially if you're not eating them. So it's important that you give your system time and space to get used to those products again. For example, if you are not eating gluten and dairy for 10 years, don't just all of a sudden start eating anything and everything. Start by slowly reintroducing really high quality, low gluten and lactose products to start. So low gluten products include things like sourdough. There's a flour that can be really great called einkorn. It's from the brand Jovial. So if you can find something like that, spelt flour, rye flour, barley flour, those are all fairly low gluten and might be easier on your system to digest. Now, if we're talking about dairy specifically, I would suggest focusing on low lactose products. So those are things like sheep and goat products, so sheep and goat milk cheese, yogurt, etc. And then there are also either low lactose or lactose-free products that are specifically the lactose has been removed. So you can look at those in the dairy aisle. And then from a cheese perspective, a lot of hard cheeses are low lactose. So sharp cheddar is a good example. Cabot products a lot of them are lactose-free, like the cheddar products. And I would just suggest starting slowly and again, incorporating it 1 or 2 products every couple days to give your system this time to just see how it goes. And the reality is that there might be a world that it doesn't go great and you feel like you are really bloated or your digestion gets totally off. If that's the case, you are probably incorporating them too quickly, or it might just be something that you actually are quite intolerant to and you probably should avoid. So just start slow and see how your system responds. Give your body a break if it's starting to not respond well. Maybe you'll find that it works out fine. Maybe you'll find that you need to keep eating this way. It's really just a testing process and seeing what works for you. This portion of the video is brought to you by my favorite skincare company of all time, Osea Malibu. I have been a diehard Osea fan for years. I use it daily. I basically use all of their products in my everyday routine. I wash my face with their milk cleanser. I then follow up with the Ocean Sea Mist, and then I use their hyaluronic acid sea serum, and every single day I use the Atmosphere Protection Cream, which I absolutely adore. And one product that I have been loving during pregnancy is the Undaria body oil. I rub it on my belly multiple times a day, and it has really helped with moisture, itchy, stretchy skin, and reducing stretch marks. So if you want to try Osea, you can use my code for 10% off your first order. It's just simply quinoa at checkout, and you can find the details in the caption below. Now let's get back to the video. So for this next part of my diet transition, I wanted to chat about how I have started to incorporate animal proteins back into my diet. Now, the reason behind this decision was primarily brought on due to my desire to get pregnant. If you haven't watched our Trying to Conceive journey, I'll link that up here, but essentially I was trying to get pregnant for about 6 months before we got pregnant for the first time. And in that 6-month period, I consulted multiple experts in the field, if you will. My OB, I consulted multiple acupuncturists, as well as multiple nutritionists that specialize in fertility. And a common theme across the board from them was a recommendation to think about incorporating animal products into my diet from a nutrient perspective. What I've learned throughout learning about fertility and things like that is that your egg quality is really important. And it's not to say that you can't have a successful vegan pregnancy, because you absolutely can. But if you are someone that is potentially struggling to get pregnant, egg quality could be a part of that. And one of the things that impacts egg quality is your diet. And if you are lacking minerals or nutrients, then that can have an impact on egg quality. I didn't just take this advice blindly. I actually got a bunch of testing done, and there were gaps in my diet that were clear in test results. Specifically in my hair tissue mineral analysis, which was really looking at basically all of the minerals in my body, and where those levels might be off, and then some of my blood tests. There was just kind of a clear sign that I should think about, or it might be helpful to think about incorporating animal proteins back into my diet. So I decided to give it a try. I think from an energy perspective, that's where I noticed the biggest difference. That, and also my feeling satisfied after the meals that I was eating. Meals just felt more satisfying. I was fuller for longer. I had more energy for longer. I didn't have as many cravings, and I feel like things just kind of balanced out. It just felt like something had been missing for a really long time that my body was needing. And now I am just kind of eating however I want to eat. I'm still trying to obviously incorporate lots of whole plant-based foods, lots of fruits, vegetables, but I also supplement with animal proteins. So whether that is high quality red meat, high quality protein or poultry, local seafood. We're now living in Maine, so seafood is really plentiful, local eggs, etc. They're all part of my diet, and I'm really just trying to eat intuitively, balanced, and in a way that nourishes me, nourishes baby, and ultimately just helps me feel good. That being said, that is basically my whole spiel about where my diet is for now. Oof, having sciatic pain when I'm standing. I thought it would just be helpful to kind of share my 2 cents on the whole thing and just come from a place of openness and honesty and authenticity and just kind of sharing my views on it all. I obviously know that there are tons of people in the community that follow this channel that are fully plant-based or are fully vegan and will not support this decision. So if you feel like you need to unsubscribe or stop watching my videos, like, I totally understand. But for those of you who maybe have transitioned to eating a way that I eat, or just generally like following because you're interested in my life, then happy to have you here, and I hope that you can continue to stay here. If you have questions about anything that I've mentioned in today's video, please don't hesitate to ask. I am an open book about this all, and I hope that it's helpful. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your continued love, support, all the well wishes through this pregnancy. Can't believe that we are approaching the end. I mean, we've still got another trimester to go, but as you're watching this, I will be just a few days away from getting into the 3rd trimester, which is crazy. And I'm excited to continue to share content with you on a weekly basis. So if you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in the next video.